G'day, I'm Kevin Bloody Wilson. Because there'll be no official Anzac Day parades anywhere around Australia or New Zealand this year, I've decided to put together a little bit of a personal look at Anzac Day, if you like, in as much as we'll be talking about some of the people that are involved in my life and have been involved in my life that all bring it back to Anzac Day, and the reason that we're all here today in commemorative spirit to remember Anzac Day. I hope you enjoy what we've got for you. I'd like to start by talking about this fella here. His name is Henry Edward Bryant. He's my dad's dad and my grandfather. He died at the age of 46 in 1917. And 100 years later, my two brothers and our sons all went to commemorate Henry's death in Passchendaele, and we also made it to Menon's Gate, where he made a presentation as well, laid a wreath there for him. And the horror stories of war that we learnt over there. For instance, he died, he was killed obviously, and buried there, and then not long afterwards, just within a couple of weeks, the burial site for him and so many of his comrades was blown up yet again. So they never found body parts that they could identify with. So he's still remembered though on the wall at Menon Gate, and we were lucky enough as a family to make a wreath, or lay a wreath there in his honour. I'll just take you on to my father-in-law, this fella here. That's Betty's dad, Ron. He survived the Second World War and came back to Australia, and again, whilst a lovely man, did not talk very much about the war. It was pretty gruesome place to be. He spent most of his war up in New Guinea. Sadly, this is his brother. His brother Percival, he was on the Sydney when it was sunk off Geraldton here in Western Australia. And what makes it even a more personal tragedy is his mother never ever knew whether his 21st birthday cake arrived. Fucking heartbreaking stuff. Then there was my Uncle Tommy, this bloke. He's my mum's brother. He came back from the war, and I remember on so many occasions when he stayed at our house, he used to, particularly if he had a couple of beers under his belt, he'd get to sleep and then wake up screaming and running through the house and yelling out things like, "Fucking Japs! Fucking Japs!" Does that sound racist today? Dilly-go. I don't care. These blokes did shit that we would never ever want to do or see. But he came out of it with and he covered all this with a sense of humour, and some of his humour was just fucking amazing. I remember Uncle Tommy, he was telling us that he actually got the highest award that you can get in Australia because he saved an entire regiment when he shot the cook. That was the humour that came from my Uncle Tommy. And another time where he visited us, Betty and I and the kids, in Kalgoorlie. And I offered him a beer at the local pub. I said, "Try this one, Uncle Tommy," because he's from Sydney. I said, "Try this one. This is the Kalgoorlie lager. You'll love this." And he had a drink and he spat it out and said, "You wouldn't give that to a fucking Jap on Anzac Day." And I thought, well done, Uncle Tommy. So if I've inherited a sense of humour somewhere, I hope I got it. I can trace it straight back to my Uncle Tommy. So to Henry, Ron, Percy and Uncle Tommy, I dedicate this song to you blokes. How do you do, Private William McBride? Do you mind if I sit here down by your graveside and rest for a while neath the warm summer sun? Been walking all day, mate, and I'm nearly done. And I see by your graveside you were only 19 when you joined the fallen in 1916. Well, I hope you died quick, and I hope you died clean. But Willie McBride wasn't slow and obscene. Did they beat the drum slowly? Did they play the fife lowly? Did they sound the death march as they lowered you down? Did the band play the last post in chorus? Did the pipes play the flowers of the forest? Did you leave a wife or a sweetheart behind in some faithful heart and your memory enshrined? And though you died back in 1916, that loyal heart, are you always 19? Or are you a stranger without even a name, forever encased behind a glass pane, in an old photograph, torn, tattered and stained, and fading to yellow in a brown leather frame? Did they beat the drum slowly? Did they play the fife lowly? Did they sound the death march as they lowered you down? Did the band play the last post and chorus? Did the pipes play the flowers of the forest? Now the sun's shining down here in Belgium and France. The soft autumn breeze makes the red poppies dance. Trenches have vanished long under the plough. No gas, no barbed wire, no guns firing now. But here in this graveyard it's still no man's land. The countless white crosses stand mute to the stand of man's blind indifference to his fellow man, to a whole generation who were butchered and damned. Did they beat the drum slowly? Did they play the fife lowly? Did they sound the death march as they lowered you down? Did the band play the last post and chorus? Did the pipes play the flowers of the forest? And I can't help but wonder now, Willie McBride, do all that lie here know why they died? Did they really believe when they answered the call? Did they really believe that this war would end wars? But the suffering, the sorrow, the glory, the shame, the killing and dying was all done in vain. Oh, Willie McBride, it's all happened again, and again, and again, and again, and again. Did they beat the drum slowly? Did they play the fife lowly? Did they sound the death march as they lowered you down? Did the band play the last post in chorus? Did the pipes play the flowers of the forest? Did the band play the last post in chorus? Did the pipes play the flowers of the forest?
I'm putting pen to paper to try and tell you what it's like. And I know that there are thousands that share the same insight. To live each day with memories of brave soldiers that are dead, trying to decipher things inside a veteran's head. I am one of the lucky ones as I trip back over the years, and even though I bottle things up and hide away my tears, I have a solid foundation that's built up over time. My wife, who has stood strong and staunch, and my children so divine. And when I sit bolt upright in the middle of the night, screaming the bloody house down, they're there to make things right. The gooks are gone now from my room as the medication kicks in, and she whispers softly in my ear, "You're safe, you're here with me. I share your pain within." Now those of you that read this verse that hangs on my shed wall, I hope it gives you a better insight of those who gave their all. To understand the reasons that make me what I am, no better or worse than you, my friend, just a mortal family man. So live in each day with happiness. And remember what I said. And I'll live with my memories inside a veteran's head. I'd just like to mention my doctors that have helped me over the last 30 years, Mike Daly, Claude Ciccini, and in the early days, my psych Lance Risby. once again, boys. Thanks for the inspiration. Welcome home.
I've been lucky enough in the last 35 years of my career to be able to tour the world and play all over the place. And wherever we can, we call into military bases. We find time to call into military bases, not only here in Australia, but certainly overseas. And both Jenny and I were invited to join the tour de force into East Timor a few years back, and it was a very, again, enriching and enlightening experience to see our troops at work in pretty untidy places. This next song, whilst it's a Christmas song, it also reflects on the people that I've met in the military over the years, and not the least of which is my mate PK. PK's coming directly back after this song to recite another one of his poems, but this is a song, and it doesn't take a lot of guessing to work out who the song's about. He was a rebel and an outlaw and an outcast, but I never saw him do nobody harm. The rumour was he'd spent some time in prison. The truth was he'd done time in Vietnam. But he always had us kids around for Christmas, and he'd always find a present for us all, and he'd always give us rides on the back of his Harley. Weren't for him there'd be no Christmas time at all. He had a Harley all in pieces in his kitchen, and bits of other bikes out in his yard, an eagle and a skull and crossbone tattooed on his arms, and a big tattoo of Santa on his heart. He was regarded pretty much as a loner. We all wondered if he'd family of his own, but I don't remember seeing any photos of Christmas when he'd open up his home. He had this funny little pot plant in the corner that he dressed up just like a Christmas tree, and the laughter from us kids at the silly things he did, like them tiny bits of tinsel in his beard. He had a Harley all in pieces in his kitchen, and bits of other bikes out in his yard, an eagle and a skull and pumpkin tattooed on his arms, and a big tattoo of Santa on his heart. Looking back, I often wonder where he'd be now, or if he's even still around at all, and if he still takes in kids. But wherever he is, it's because of him I still believe in Santa Claus. And today I took my own kid to meet Santa, and after all these years he hasn't changed at all, except his hair's a little whiter and he's put on a bit more metal. But the love coming from them kids just said it all. Bet there's a Harley all in pieces in his kitchen, and bits of other bikes out in his yard, an eagle and a skull and crossbone tattooed on his arms, and a big tattoo of Santa on his heart. Bet there's a big tattoo of Santa on his heart. Back to you, PK.
Thanks, Kevy, for turning up into the shed. And I'm going to do the poem that I wrote in 1999 about my situation. Hope you like it, mate. It's called The Shed, actually. Vietnam veteran in his shed, smoking pot, must be head. It's there he does his drinking. Flashback zing through a foggy brain. Tonsonute, driving rain. The dad is really stinking. Red tracer in the air, fire on the ground. Scared faces everywhere, but they'll never let you down. Charlie knows where dinkum. 50 years ago, boys to men. Another crazy day we face together, my friend. 50 years on, the ashes have chilled, but in your dreams at night, you know it's real. Out in the jungle, it can happen any time. Take cover, Diddy Mao, Christ, someone's tripped a mine. Hot metal fills the rubber trees. The Sarge, he chucks a flare. The humming of the rotor blades. A Kazovac is near. Ian, Rod and John, all killed in different ways. He relives it constantly through a marijuana haze. R&C and Vungers, the bars, the girls, the booze. A satchel charge was thrown in one. 3 Yanks, 5 Nogs they lose. The Badco Club, we take time out for a smoke, a beer and a rum. 95 and a wakey left. I must write home to Mum. Bluey got the MM, Mum, and a Yank citation for Gus. The shit really hit the fan that day. They flew the flag for us. 50 years ago, boys to men. Another crazy day we face together, my friend. 50 years on, the ashes have chilled, but in your dreams at night, you know it's real. Pan Am and his freedom bird. His time is finally here. Step off that steamy tarmac away from body bags and fear. They flew us into Mascot on a warm November night. No family, friends or fanfare. No welcome home tonight. With the Nashos, the government said, get on with it, get back to civilian life. But he and his own know the scars that are grown and the mental pain still rife. Back in the smoke haze shed, stares at photos on the wall. Safe behind the wire, he knows his brothers gave their all. Harley keeps the spirit alive. The wife, his heart and soul. Riding with his colours on down a highway paved with gold. Yes, the Harley keeps the spirit alive. The wife, his heart and soul. Memories of brave young men in a dirty, bloody war. All people, all soldiers, all situations in my verse there are true. Peter Blue Ma, Military Medal, Action 7th of June 1971. Bain Gus Kelly with the American Citation for Gallantry on the same day. I thank them and all Vietnam veterans for giving me the inspiration to write my little story. Welcome home all of you boys.
Thanks yet again, PK. And just before we go into the last song, I'd like to say a very special thanks to you, PK, for allowing us inside your shed and inside your head for our very special Anzac Day commemorative service. I'd like to thank you at home too for watching and joining us, and I hope you not only enjoyed the show, but you get to enjoy the rest of your Anzac Day. And I'd also like to thank Eric Bogle for writing some of the most amazing patriotic Australian songs. Eric is a Scotsman that migrated to Australia as a young fella and quickly grasped the Australian spirit as it is indicative of all the songs that he've written about Australia. This is an example. And if you know it, sing along, particularly when we get to the end of it. Those that were left, we tried to survive this mad world of blood, death and fire. And for 10 weary weeks I kept myself alive, while the corpses around me piled high. Then a big Turkish shell knocked me arse overhead, and when I awoke in me hospital bed, I saw what it had done and I wished I was dead. Never knew there were worse things than dying. So no more I'll go waltzing Matilda, all around the green bush far and near. The humped and pegs, the man neath both legs, no more waltzing Matilda for me. They gathered the wounded, the crippled, the maimed, and they shipped us back home to Australia. The armless, the legless, the blind and insane, those proud wounded heroes of silver. And when our ship pulled into Circular Quay, I looked at the place where my legs used to be, and thank Christ there was nobody waiting for me to grieve and to mourn and to pity. And the band played a waltzing Matilda as they carried us down the gangway, but nobody cheered, they just stood there and stared and turned all their faces away. Now every April I sit on the porch and watch the parade pass before me. I see me old comrades, how proudly they march, reliving old dreams and past glories. And the old men march slowly, their bones stiff and sore, tired old heroes from a forgotten war. And the young people ask, what are they marching for? And I ask myself the same question. And the band plays waltzing Matilda, and the old man still answers the call. But after all of these years, they've all disappeared. Now there's no one left anymore. Join me. Waltzing Matilda, waltzing Matilda, you'll come waltzing Matilda with me. And their ghosts may be heard as they pass by the billabong. You'll come waltzing Matilda with me. Waltzing Matilda, waltzing Matilda, who'll come waltzing Matilda with me. And their ghosts may be heard as they march by the billabong. Who'll come waltzing Matilda with me. Who'll come waltzing Matilda with me.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them, lest we forget